Hello, dear friends. There are dark clouds on the horizon, but this would be nothing more than the much talked about scare event, which wouldn't get very far by divine will. Opinion piece: not to war. Risk in August. Hal Turner reports. Kissinguer wanted. Meditation for peace. Kiev refuses to negotiate. Would the event be a scare? European Union bans Russian gold imports. Saudi Arabia distances itself from the petrodollar. US evacuates its citizens from Ukraine. Spain's public debt sets a record high. European Union unfreezes Russian bank deposits. Panama uprising erupts over inflation. Let's start. Henry Kissinger has just said on Fox News that we should expect a direct conflict with Russia in mid-August. In a brief message to the population, the Cobra contactee says that they would be trying to engineer a war between Russia and NATO, with a target date in the first half of August. Therefore, the Forces of Light ask all who feel guided to participate in meditation for peace every 4 hours. Victory of the Light. According to Mike Adams, the Western nations are invoking doomsday retaliation. This would be the famous scare event that has been much talked about. According to Hal Turner, the Russian Defense Ministry issued a late-night press release saying, in quotes, "We are on the brink of immediate armed conflict after Ukraine used HIMARS missiles to attack a Russian base." In addition, the Russian Foreign Ministry has also issued a statement, in quotes again, "NATO is on the brink of an open military conflict with Moscow, which would be fraught with nuclear tensions," spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said in a statement on Tuesday. In quotes again, "After provoking an escalation of the Ukrainian crisis and unleashing a hybrid confrontation with Russia, NATO is teetering on the brink of an open confrontation with our country, which would mean a direct armed conflict between nuclear powers, a confrontation that would be fraught with nuclear escalation," the statement read. Evacuation. US citizens are wanted to leave Ukraine immediately. The US Embassy in Kiev, Ukraine, has warned its state of alert and is now advising all its citizens to leave Ukraine immediately. All consular functions will be relocated to Lviv in western Ukraine. Kiev refuses to negotiate with Moscow. This also seems to match intelligence reports that Ukraine plans to use the new HIMARS to attack Crimea, which is now Russian territory. Russia has previously stated that if long-range weapons are used against Russian territory, then Russia would declare the US an active combatant and take action. The HIMARS is a high-mobility artillery rocket system, a light multiple missile launcher method mounted on a truck. Over the weekend, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev spoke publicly about possible Ukrainian attacks in Crimea and said in quotes, If something like this happens, the day of reckoning will happen to all of them." Overnight, the Russian Navy began pulling various ships out of Crimea to its port in Novorossiysk. The Russian Black Sea Fleet dropped anchor and left Sevastopol for the Kuban. They suspect a missile attack on the port facilities. Rumors of war. The European Union bans the import of gold from Russia. The European Union expects a Russia-Ukraine agreement on grain exports. Difficult agreement, by the way. Putin blames the West and sanctions for the lack of Russian gas to Europe. New day of Russian selling in the Donbass as Kiev fights back in the south. Russia says a Ukrainian drone attacked a nuclear power plant, but no damage was done. The Ukrainian army destroyed the only bridge leading to the Kherson across the Dnieper River. Economy. Russia will not supply oil to the world market if oil price restrictions are imposed. Japan buys the most expensive shipment of natural gas in its history in the midst of the crisis. US and UK arm Ukraine to turn Europe against Russia. The European Union unfreezes Russian bank deposits under the pretext of a food crisis, but the reality is that Germany agreed to exchange part of the sanctions for some Gazprom natural gas. US mortgage applications fall to their lowest level in 22 years. Central banks are willing to destroy the economy if it means saving the stock market. Saudi Arabia distances itself from the petrodollar to join to the BRICS currency order. Texas crude oil is down 1.9% and closes at $102.26 a barrel. Europe scorches in the frying pan caused by the heat wave. The heat eases temporarily, but fires continue to rage across Europe. The fire giants engulfing Europe still can't get enough. Heat wave hits northern Europe with record temperatures. Heat wave reaches Germany with forecast of 40 degrees Celsius in the west. Mario Draghi loses support and Italy moves closer to new elections. Brussels proposes mandatory cuts in consumption in case Russia cuts off gas this winter. Lack of energy is holding back Europe's economy, according to Benjamin Fulford. The state will not survive if we have social unrest. France is forced to turn off street lights at night because of a power grid failure. France's nuclear reactors, which produce 25% of all electricity in Western Europe, have only 46% of capacity. Last week, the price of electricity rose 18% to €500 per megawatt hour, the highest weekend ever. Similar situations are observed in Italy, Hungary, etc. Bankrupt Western countries use environmental regulations to hide the fact that they can no longer afford to pay for fertilizers. This forces farmers in Spain, Italy, Poland, and Argentina to join Dutch farmers in mass protests all over the world. Spain. Extreme heat is shelved until the end of the week, when an upturn is forecast. The Spanish government rejects the European Commission's proposal to reduce gas consumption by 15%. In quotes, "We cannot accept a sacrifice on which we have not even been asked for an opinion," said the Minister for Ecological Transition, Teresa Rivera, on Wednesday. Spain's public debt set a record in May at €1.46 trillion. Dolores Delgado resigns as Attorney General. Mars on Earth, a European sustainable tourism project located in Rio Tinto. Morocco sentences 33 migrants to 11 months for jumping the Melilla fence. Americas. Explosion at the Hoover Dam in Nevada. The fire is out, according to the authorities. The Mexican president investigates the judge who protected Iberdrola against the fine. Petro wins a majority in the Colombian Congress. U.S. ambassador meets with Petro to work on shared goals. The president of Honduras will attend Gustavo Petro's inauguration in Colombia. Maduro sends greetings to Colombia on the 212th anniversary of its independence. The dollar hits a new record in Argentina. Argentina launches a reference price program for medicines. Central America, a kingdom of poverty and social inequality. A major uprising erupts in Panama over inflation and deteriorating economic conditions. Empty shelves, roadblocks, and a negotiation that is advancing slowly while repression continues in the streets is the consequence of the delicate situation in the Central American nation. The Salvadoran Congress approves a fourth extension of the emergency regime. The families hold the Salvadoran state responsible for the situation of the detainees under the emergency regime. Daniel Ortega celebrates 43 years of the Sandinista revolution in Nicaragua. New massacre reflects the spiral of violence and the crisis in Ecuador's prisons. Mercosur fails to reach consensus to allow Zelensky to participate in the bloc summit. Electric motorinas, an effective solution to Cuba's fuel shortage. Paraguay confirms Bolsonaro's absence from the Mercosur summit. Other news. Sri Lankan parliament confirms Wickremesinghe as president amid protests. Resilient crops sought to feed the world in the future. Atlantic plankton has all but disappeared due to chemical pollution, researchers say. Predictions. According to Thomas Anderson, it is likely that from September onwards, driving will be banned in Germany and basic emergency food supply cards will be printed for supplies due to a likely blackout, and riots are expected. 2023 would be a difficult year. Martin Armstrong says now is the time to prepare for what is coming in 2023. Armstrong's Socrates computer program predicts that 2023, in quotes, will be the year from the hell. He explains that our computer is predicting a war cycle that hits in 2023, but that's also civil unrest. Asset looting. Under the banner of fighting recession, economic fear is disrupting society. What is happening now is not a recession. It is a depression that has been plaguing us since 2008. Today's economic collapse cannot be avoided with easy money. When? Will it be weeks more, months more? Obviously, we are doing what needs to be done, and we will continue to do it for as long as it takes, but who isn't completely tired of the movie? Military training for the implementation of the emergency broadcast system. When this happens, you will know that we are just around the corner from a new world. Don't be angry and don't be scared at all. This is necessary for us to make the transition to a bright future. It is part of the script and is the last phase of a harrowing film that was necessary to awaken the masses. This will ensure that everyone is safely located in their home and can witness this historical moment that reveals all the truths, concealments, etc. All is scheduled to happen. The practice test will take place, so be prepared. There should be a test, and then a review of all occurrences and activities. The possible implications at the national and global level can be quite complicated, so things must be aligned with the protocols, because there would be many consequences if things were not done with precision and perfection. We hear that the timetable is finally firm. Only a select few know the exact and precise timing of events. For security and other obvious reasons, it must be kept properly private. The EBS will broadcast an 8-hour video that will be played 3 times a day for 10 days. Reflections. Once you have tasted flight, you will walk for the earth forever with your eyes turned towards the sky. For there you have been, and there you will always long to return. Leonardo da Vinci. The world is as it is now seems to me to be an ancient pantomime. What is this posturing? Who designed these ugly sets? And these emotional disguises of fear and luck are not attractive at all. I keep my eyes looking skyward and keep waiting for my moment. The silver spaceships are coming. I'm sure they are, and I intend to be ready to greet them. How to be a silent warrior in a turbulent world? Only by accepting your solitude can you be truly free to relate to others from a place of inner grounding. To be quiet and solitary requires the courage of a lone wolf or a free spirit. Only sheep, fearful of being alone, live in crowds and move in crowds. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.